Hi. Supplemental Education Services and No Child Left Behind is the only federal program that gives parents the right to choose the high-quality service that they would need for their children. So if there's no SES program, it's essentially taking that opportunity away from parents. And it's basically, we're talking about leveling the playing field. If you're wealthy, what do you do when your kid needs help? You call Sylvan, Huntington, or some other community organization. If you're poor, you have no other resources available to you unless you're a Title I parent and you have SES available to you. So without SES, low-income parents have absolutely no other opportunities available to them. And that's why we see it as a civil rights issue, first and foremost. SES operates in different communities, different ways, largely because school districts have a lot of control over how it gets shaped and delivered and organized. Some school districts, they do a fabulous job in communicating this option to parents early enough in the fall season, so parents get the message, they enroll, and the resources are well utilized, and it's an effective program. Unfortunately, there are some examples of school districts that, for a variety of reasons, aren't as agile in communicating the opportunities of SES, and therefore not as many kids are served, and therefore monies are not expended for the purposes in which they've been appropriated. Unfortunately, we see more of those kinds of districts than we do of those that are fully cooperating and really are enthusiastic about bringing this resource to families. And I understand some of that because the way the monies become available is when schools are not having success, and school districts feel defensive because they are made to feel like they're struggling and unsuccessful. So this is viewed as almost like a punishment when they get the money, as opposed to an incentive to help more families do better. And unfortunately, it's been positioned as a sanction, not as additional resources, or something more positive. So we're operating already from a defensive posture. Measuring the impact of tutoring takes place in many forms. One, and this is very important, we want to know how parents, teachers think of SES. Is it working for their children? So we believe very strongly in getting survey data back from our stakeholders. How do teachers and parents and school principals come to view the success of tutoring in their communities? Number two, all providers or most providers use assessment tools that have a pre-test before the child gets served and a post-test after services are delivered. And when you compare the difference in child's efficiency between pre and post, you can get a gain. And we really think that more of the providers' data should be used in assessing the efficacy of SES. Thirdly, every state has what's called an AYP test, or a test that measures schools' annual yearly progress in student reading and writing. These tests are the tests that measure school effectiveness. And once again, the results of the kids' performance on those state tests are another ingredient in how SES effectiveness should be evaluated. We believe that the best way to measure SES overall is to use all components of all these types of inputs: student surveys and parents, provider pre-post tests, and state testing. And it's the combination of all these tests that we think gives an effective picture of how effective is tutoring in closing the achievement gap for particular students.